In exactly 24 hours from the time this video goes live, Zelos is going to be dropping another batch of their Mako V3 diver. And this is going to be a stainless steel release. They have some new dial variants, and most excitingly, they have the new GMT version, which features the Miyota 9075 that I don't have in for review. I'm going to be reviewing one of the standard three-handers. But if you know anything about Zelos, you know two things to be true. One, their watches are typically great, and two, they typically sell out within the first couple of hours that they go live. So since the time is ticking down as we speak, let's get right into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Just the Watch. My name's Dave, I live in Japan, and I love to collect affordable watches. And in the realm of affordable watches, there's one micro brand that has really distinguished itself, and that is Zelos. I think a lot of people have seen them as kind of moving up market. A lot of their recent releases have been creeping up above the $500 mark, especially with the different GMT variations and things that they've done. But the release that will be coming out tomorrow is going back to some of their more sort of mid-range divers with the Mako V3. And since it is in stainless steel, you're going to be able to pick this one up at the launch price of $429, which comes with excellent specs for the price. Now, this watch was provided to me for free by Zelos, which is why you saw the paid promotions flag in the beginning of this video. However, other than the watch itself, I did not receive any compensation for this watch, nor did Zelos have any input into the content of this review. So let me try to give you an up-close look at this new launch so that you can make the decision of whether or not this is something you're going to want to buy, because you're probably not going to have a lot of time to make that decision. So opening this up, the first thing you're going to see is the new packaging that Zelos is using these days. This is a 3-slot travel case that is surprisingly high quality for what is just the packaging for this watch. The outside has a very smooth feeling synthetic leather with the Zelos logo embossed on the front of it, and opening it up, it's actually looking pretty good on the inside as well. 3 watches can be fit inside with dividers to keep them protected, to keep them from bumping around, and this one features rails on the pillows so that you can easily slide them in and out. Now, after sizing the watch up, I did find that it was a pretty tight fit on the pillow. The pillows look like they're supposed to be able to bend, but they felt pretty stiff, so it was kind of hard to get it back on the pillow after sizing, so that's one potential issue with this packaging. But I'm not really going to complain too much because, again, free 3-slot watch roll is pretty awesome for just packaging with the watch. And once we get it out of the packaging, we can see what Zelos has sent over. This is a Mako V3, which is Zelos's mid-sized, mid-priced diver. It features premium specifications all the way around and a really clean, sleek, kind of organic design. The Mako V3 line has been out for a couple of years now, and they haven't made any major changes to it. It's actually been a couple of years since they did a stainless steel variant. So at a $429 launch price, this is going to be one of the most affordable Mako releases in almost 2 years. And the Mako line packs a lot of value into this $429 launch price. It's built around the Miyota 9015 automatic movement, which is a premium movement from Miyota meant to compete with Swiss movements. It's slim and features a high beat rate and is very accurate. And this movement is housed inside a case that features 300 meters of water resistance, and the case is extremely thin for a 300-meter dive watch. If you don't count the very high domed sapphire crystal, the case is only 11.5 millimeters tall. With the crystal, it goes up to just over 14 millimeters, so the crystal itself is over 2.5 millimeters tall. And it's actually one of my favorite parts of this watch. I love the way it looks. It's just such a beautiful, bubbly look. It adds a lot of character and depth to the dial. If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. And if you like affordable watches, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because I cover all sorts of affordable watches on this channel. Also included is excellent lume all the way around with a combination of C3 and BGW9, including a fully lumed ceramic bezel, and a bracelet that features both quick release pins for easy strap changes and a clasp with tool-free on-the-fly adjustment, which allows you to easily resize the bracelet when you're out and about. Now, those are pretty much all features that we've gotten used to seeing on the Mako 3 line. There are just a couple of kind of new things with this particular release. One of them is that clasp. This is a different version of their tool-free micro adjust clasp, and they continue to improve on it. It seems like every version gets a little bit better, and this one is my favorite so far. The clasp itself is beautifully finished and surprisingly small for the amount of functionality and stability that it offers. It is fully milled and it opens and closes very smoothly with 2 push buttons. But the coolest part is that tool-free micro adjust. There is a spring-loaded lever on the back side of the bracelet. And to adjust it, all you have to do is pull the bracelet up away from the clasp a little bit and then slide it in and out to whichever size you want. It is very fast, very smooth, and very secure. And for me, having a watch bracelet with a tool-free micro adjust just makes me far more likely to wear the watch on the bracelet. It makes it very easy to deal with wrist size fluctuations. It's just amazing to be able to freely loosen or tighten the bracelet depending on the situation that you're in. Now, the only downside to this clasp is that it is a little bit thicker than a typical clasp. I measure this one at 8 millimeters at the thickest point, whereas most other clasps I see are about 1.5 millimeters slimmer than this one. Other changes for this release, most obviously you're getting new dial colors and variants. This is something that Zelos always seems to do. I'm not sure if I have ever seen them release the same watch twice. They're calling this dial and color variation the hammered orange. It's a highly textured dial with a kind of burnt orange color that fades to black at the edges. And it's a very cool, unique texture. It does have kind of an aquatic feel to it that I think really matches the theme of the dive watch. It kind of reminds me of the surface of the ocean or of a seashell. And because there is real depth to those scallops on the dial, it looks really interesting as you look at it from different angles and you see the light reflecting off it in different ways. It's a really cool effect. I like it, but it's not going to be for everybody. I know a lot of people prefer a more simple or classic dial option. So this one's going to be kind of pushing the envelope a little bit for some people and definitely has a much more aggressive and cutting edge look to it. But I think this sort of thing is part of Zelos's DNA at this point, particularly with the Mako line. Now, another big thing to note with this drop is that there are also GMT options available, and this is a first for the Mako line. I don't have one of the GMT ones here, so I'm not going to comment too much on it, but it's worth noting that they are available and they're not that much more than the standard version. And those are using Miyota's new 9075 True GMT movement, which seems pretty cool, but I haven't got a watch in yet to check it out, so I don't know too much about that. Finally, there is one more minor change that I noticed, and that is with the screws on the bracelet. It does not appear that they have used any Loctite on the screws this time around, and I'm in favor of that change. Without the Loctite, the screws often come loose on these bracelets, which is a common problem for pretty much any watch that uses screws for bracelet adjustment. So for a while now, Zelos has experimented with putting Loctite on the bracelet screws before shipping it out, but the problem with that is that it can often make resizing the bracelet very difficult. Sometimes you can have a lot of trouble getting the bracelet pins to screw back in properly or to get them out, which has caused a lot of frustration for me personally, so I'm happy to just have it without, and then I can add my own Loctite if I want to. But that said, be careful because these bracelet screws are likely to work themselves out on their own. Okay, so that about wraps it up for the technical side of things. Let me go on to what I think are the pros and cons of the Mako, and particularly this version of the Mako 3. Overall, this is a very solid watch. Like, it's just very well made. The bracelet is very solid and smooth. It functions perfectly. The bezel is great with really nice action. The crown is very smooth when you screw it in or screw it out, with very distinct clicks for the date position and the time setting position. And the specifications and finishing are also excellent for this price. Zelos has really dialed in their manufacturing at this point, and they put together one of the best made watches for the price out there. The finishing is also excellent. The case finishing features a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces with great definition between those. The handset is very crisp and finely cut. It has a very sharp edge to it and is very nicely finished with a black coating over the whole thing. And I love the way that the applied markers look against that dial. And the overall design is unique, it's distinctly Zelos, and it is very pleasing. It's really awesome to see brands putting out wholly unique designs like this. And when you add on to all of that, Zelos has a reputation for some of the best customer service in the business, it's no wonder that their watches sell out all the time. And that's a good segue into the cons of this watch, because one of the biggest problems with this watch or any watch from Zelos is that they do sell out all the time. It can often be very frustrating to get your hands on one of these watches. And that's the reason I'm kind of rushing to get this review out, because if I don't get it out before the watch drops, there's a high likelihood it'll be gone before you see this review. And if you didn't see this review when I released it, there's still a high likelihood it could be gone already. There's a reason why Zelos has a countdown timer on their page, because if you are not there when that countdown timer hits 0, again, you might not be able to buy this watch. Now, other than that, there's only one other thing that I don't like about this watch, and it's kind of a minor thing, and that's with the design. I think the handset is just a little bit undersized, and this is particular case with the hour hand, which I think is significantly undersized. I get that they're going for a very sleek look here, and that minute hand being very long and slender, I think I'm okay with that. It makes sense. But I'm not okay with the hour hand being that small. It's not a huge deal, but it is an area that I think could use some improvement. Still, overall, this is a phenomenal watch for the price, and again, it's probably going to sell out pretty quick. So if you're interested in it, get on that link down below, wait for the countdown, and try and be there as close to when it hits 0 as possible. All right, so that is the hammered orange dial variant of the upcoming Zelos V3 Diver. If you're interested in picking this up, I'll put a link down below in the description. Let me know what you think of it. If you are interested in any particular variants that are coming out, I was more interested in the GMT. I was kind of hoping I could have gotten one of those in to check out because I haven't seen a GMT yet with the Miyota 9075. It's a very competitive price that they're offering that one at, especially at the launch. Maybe the cheapest you're going to find a watch with an automatic true GMT movement in it at the moment. So I would definitely be looking at that. But as usual, you're probably not going to have a lot of time to make these kinds of decisions. This one that they sent me is marked 115 out of 200, so I suspect that means they've only produced 200 of each color variant, which is not a lot for a watch from Zelos. So yeah, good luck. Do me a favor and check out my online store where I sell watch-themed t-shirts and hoodies. This is a lightweight hoodie that I've got in stock now. Perfect for spring. Go check it out. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.